There's a specific moment you probably know too well. It's that instant when you know you should start the hard task, the assignment, the workout, the job application, the deep work session, but your brain suddenly becomes a professional negotiator. Maybe I should clean my desk first. Maybe I'll feel more motivated in 20 minutes. Maybe tomorrow. And before you realize it, hours slip by and you're left with that quiet, frustrating guilt. Not because the task was impossible, but because your brain simply refused to engage. I used to think this was a discipline problem, but it's not. It's a brain mechanics problem, a design problem. And once you understand it, everything becomes a lot easier. In this video, I want to walk you through a method I call the Lotus Method, a simple, science-aligned approach to forcing your brain to start and actually finish hard things even when you don't feel ready. By the end, you'll know why your brain resists difficult tasks even when you logically want to do them, how to break the hesitation loop that keeps you stuck, and the 4 steps of the Lotus Method that can get you into motion in minutes. Let's dive in. The first part of the Lotus Method is something I call the freeze point, basically the tiny gap between intention and action. Before you can do hard things, you have to recognize when your brain begins its quiet rebellion. For example, you tell yourself, okay, let's start working. You reach for your laptop, and then your brain adds, but maybe we should get some water first. That moment right there is the freeze point. Most people miss it. They get pulled into micro distractions before they even realize what happened. Back when I was studying, I would tell myself I was going to revise for 20 minutes. I'd sit at my desk, open the drawer to get my pen, and before I knew it, I'd spent 40 minutes reorganizing my entire stationery set. I never even noticed the moment it happened. The freeze point slipped by unnoticed. Your first step is simply awareness. Whenever you feel that internal flinch, that tiny pull toward doing something else, pause and label it. Say internally, okay, this is the freeze point. It sounds small, but catching this single moment begins to change everything. Next comes the 20% rule. This one is huge. Your brain doesn't actually resist the task itself, it resists the energy cost of starting. The first 20% of any hard thing feels disproportionately heavy. Opening the book is harder than reading it. Putting on your gym clothes is harder than the actual workout. Writing the first sentence is harder than writing the next 50. So instead of focusing on the entire task, you focus only on the first 20% of it. Instead of saying, I have to study for 2 hours, you shift to, I just need to open the book, find the chapter, and read 1 page. Instead of, I need to clean the whole room, you go with, I'm just going to pick up 10 items. Suddenly the task becomes bite-sized. And your brain stops panicking. I still use this daily. If I need to write a script, I never tell myself to write 1,200 words. I tell myself to write 1 paragraph. Just 1. And most of the time, that paragraph turns into the entire script. So the rule is simple. Shrink your entry point until it no longer feels threatening. Now we add the 60-second bridge. This is what connects intention with actual action. Once you've identified your freeze point and shrunk the task down using the 20% rule, you give yourself exactly 1 minute, just 60 seconds to start. You don't think about it. You don't negotiate with yourself. You just begin. A lot of people believe they need motivation before taking action. But it's actually the opposite. Motivation follows action. It's like a shadow. It appears after you've already begun. The 60-second bridge uses time to create instant momentum. Here's how it works. Freeze point hits. You catch it. You shrink the task. Then you say, okay, 1 minute. Let's start. And you begin immediately. Most people find that once they cross that first minute, the task becomes significantly easier. I had a friend who struggled with writing her thesis. She cared deeply about it, but starting felt overwhelming. So I told her, for the next week, don't write a thesis. Write for 1 minute each day. She laughed because it sounded too easy. But by day 3, her 1-minute sessions turned into 20-minute sessions. By day 5, she was writing for over an hour. The energy barrier was broken. The bridge works. And now we reach the last part of the Lotus Method, the post-action reward loop. Your brain loves rewards. It repeats whatever leads to relief or satisfaction. So, after you complete your 20% task score after crossing the 60-second bridge, you need to create a moment of positive closure. Nothing huge, not junk food or scrolling, just something small that signals, "Good job. That was the right move." It could be mentally saying, "Nice, done." It could be checking the task off a list. Stretching, taking a slow breath, sipping your coffee, or even just closing your eyes for 3 seconds. It sounds tiny, but you're teaching your brain that starting hard things is something that ends with calm, not stress. Over time, your freeze points get weaker, the resistance fades, and starting becomes natural. Most people skip this step, and that's why their productivity improvements don't stick. Before you try the Lotus Method, let me share a few pitfalls to avoid. First, don't make your 20% task too big. If it still feels intimidating, shrink it again. Your brain should respond with, "Yeah, I can do that." Second, don't turn the 60-second bridge into a negotiation. It's not, "I'll start in a minute." It's, "I start for a minute." Third, don't expect perfect results right away. You're rewiring your brain, not flipping a switch. And finally, don't reward yourself with distractions. Scrolling TikTok as a reward teaches your brain that doing hard things leads to dopamine from avoidance. Keep rewards simple, clean, and internal. So, let's summarize. The Lotus Method has 4 parts. Freeze point awareness, catch the exact moment your brain hesitates. The 20% rule, shrink the task until the resistance disappears. The 60-second bridge, start the mini-task instantly for 1 minute to create momentum. And there would loop, reinforce the behavior with a small, positive signal. If you follow these 4 steps, doing hard things stops feeling like a battle. Your brain becomes a partner instead of an obstacle, and if you've been feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or disappointed in yourself for not doing what you know you should be doing, I want you to remember this. There's nothing wrong with you. Your brain just needs a structure designed for how it naturally works. So try the Lotus Method today, right after this video. Pick one task, shrink it to 20%, start for 60 seconds, and end with a tiny reward. And if you want more videos like this, simple methods that help you grow, study better, and improve your life, consider subscribing. It genuinely helps the channel, and it lets me keep making content that supports you. You've got this.